If you haven't noticed, superhero films have taken over in recent years. While the comic book universes contain hundreds of characters and enough stories to make a movie for each one, the success of the films depend a lot on the popularity of the characters. With that in mind, for live-action versions of these characters, it's important to cast the right actor for the role. Some of these actors seem as though they were born to play these roles, but who were they before they were heroes? Stay tuned to find out. But before we get started, be sure to hit that red subscribe button to join in on the fun and keep up to date with all things CBR.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
Henry Cavill. You might recognize this handsome gentleman as the Man of Steel himself, but before he put on the red and blue uniform and became the modern face of Superman, Henry Cavill had a long but relatively not well-known film and television career. Cavill's first major role was in Kevin Reynolds' adaptation of The Count of Monte Cristo, where he portrayed Albert Modago. How very dashing. He would also go on to have reoccurring appearances as Chaz Quilter on the BBC show Inspector Lynley Mysteries. Cavill actually had been offered a Superman role prior to Man of Steel. After his success on the popular show The Tudors, he was offered the role of Superman in the scrapped Flyby. The project would eventually become Superman Returns, and the role was given to Brandon Routh. We wonder if the film would have been a hit had Cavill played the lead back then. This wouldn't be the first time that Cavill had been offered a big role, but lost it to another actor. Cavill lost out on playing Edward Cullen in the Twilight series and James Bond in Casino Royale. Luckily, after his lead role in The Immortals, he would again regain an audition for Superman. Jason Momoa. While Jason Momoa's premiere as Aquaman in the DCEU is yet to happen, aside from cameos, the actor's impressive and interesting acting career is definitely worth delving into. After a brief modeling career, Momoa was cast on the last 2 seasons of Baywatch, which had moved production to Hawaii under the new name Baywatch Hawaii. Seems fitting, as Momoa is a native of Hawaii and is of Hawaiian ancestry. After small parts, the actor landed his first major role in Stargate Atlantis, where he played Ronan Dex. Momoa's first famous role so far, until Aquaman, was his reoccurring role on Game of Thrones as Khal Drogo. He successfully performed his role as the fearsome Khal at the same time that he was cast and portrayed as Conan the Barbarian in the 2011 remake. In October of 2014, it was announced that he would be cast as the DCEU's Aquaman. With that, he's starring as Aquaman in the Justice League film as well as an Aquaman solo film coming in 2018. Leading up to that, Momoa has starred in TV shows like Red Road or Frontier. We definitely love watching the actor in anything we can, and we're so excited to see him play a superhero. For those of you who love ad-free viewing and free things, we're excited to announce the Premium Network. The Premium gets you early access to videos from CBR, The Gamer, Screen Rant, and many other great channels. Literally thousands of videos in one place with ad-free browsing. How sweet is that? Sign up for the Premium by clicking the link to start binge-watching videos from your favorite channels.
Is it stealing if you steal from another thief?
Gal Gadot. Born in Israel, the star of DC's smash hit Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot has a rather interesting career prior to her DCEU appearances. After studying law for some time, Gadot enlisted in the Israel Defense Forces to fulfill her mandatory service as an Israeli citizen. Can this gorgeous gal get any more impressive? Gadot served as a combat instructor and says that her service helped her get her role as Giselle in the Fast and Furious films, stating that the director was interested in her weapons knowledge. Both before and after her military career, Gadot worked as a model, a job that began after winning the 2004 Miss Israel beauty pageant. Brains, beauty, and combat training. This woman is a force to be reckoned with. Aside from her Fast and the Furious appearances, Gadot had small roles in Date Night and Night and Day before going through intense sword and martial arts training to fulfill her first Wonder Woman appearance in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, which we all can agree Wonder Woman was the best part of that film. We're so happy she finally got her own film and will continue appearing on the big screen.
Who the hell is this? It smells like government.
Hugh Jackman. When you hear this actor's name, you probably think of his iconic role as Wolverine in the X-Men series, right? Well, Hugh Jackman is another superhero actor with an impressive stage background who, as many know, is also a talented singer. He's pretty much invincible in our book. Most of the actor's pre-Wolverine work was musical theater, including playing Gaston in 1996 stage production of Beauty and the Beast. Prior to this, Jackman was in a short-lived ABC drama called Corelli, a role he got on the same night he graduated from college. Not too bad for a postgraduate grad job. After his stint as Gaston, he went on to star in both a stage production and a film version of the musical Oklahoma. While this is about the extent of Jackman's career prior to getting the Wolverine role, his popularity in the film series skyrocketed his career, which led him to star in other great films like The Prestige and Les Miserables, which we absolutely loved him in. While preparing for his first X-Men appearance, Jackman said he studied films like Dirty Harry and The Road Warrior, which definitely paid off, as we can't see anyone else playing Wolverine ever. Chris Hemsworth. When we think of Chris Hemsworth, we usually think of long, blonde, flowing hair, a mighty hammer, and the awesomeness that is Marvel's Thor. Sure, he is mighty and worthy, and he looks like he can destroy anything in his path, but did you know that before Thor, Chris Hemsworth was on Dancing with the Stars Australia? Bet you're looking at Thor in a whole new light now, huh? We can't get the mental image of Thor doing a foxtrot or tango out of our heads either. Though he wasn't actually Thor at the time of his dancing stint, Hemsworth had established a short career by then, appearing in 3 different Australian soap operas. After being eliminated from Dancing with the Stars Australia, Hemsworth would go on to play the role of Captain Kirk's father, George Kirk, in the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek film. Remember the first 15 minutes of the film? Yeah, that Thor. While filming his brief appearance as George Kirk, he also filmed the thriller A Perfect Getaway. Hemsworth's first starring role would come in 2010 with the American film Cash, the first movie he shot after moving to the United States. Later, he and Tom Hiddleston would audition for Thor, and we all know how that turned out.
No one could have done better.
I could have done better.
Benedict Cumberbatch. As his incredibly British and unique name might lead you to believe, much of Benedict Cumberbatch's earliest work includes a long list of stage plays and BBC programs. He's done everything from a stage version of Frankenstein, in which he alternated playing both the Doctor and his monster, to an award-nominated performance in Hamlet. Now that's one talented man. Cumberbatch has a long history of classical acting, which gives us all the more reason to love him. Cumberbatch went on to star in British programs like Cambridge Spies and 40-something, and he even played Stephen Hawking in Hawking. He would play another historical feature in Van Gogh, Painted with Words, before finally landing his most famous role as the famous detective Sherlock Holmes in Sherlock. Before getting cast as Doctor Strange, Cumberbatch appeared in Warhorse, did the voice and motion capture for Smaug the Dragon in the Hobbit series, played Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness, and was nominated for Best Actor for his role in The Intimidation Game. These are just some of his amazing performances before he became a Marvel superhero. We think he was the perfect choice to play Doctor Strange, don't you?
At this point, I doubt anything would surprise me.
$10 says you're wrong.
Chris Evans. Though he is now the face of Captain America in the MCU, Evans has somewhat made a career of starring in comic book movies. Aside from playing Cap, Evans starred in 6 different comic book movies: the 2 Fantastic Four films, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Losers, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Snowpiercer. That's a pretty impressive resume. We also love how iconic he's become in the comic book world, but we love him the most as Captain America. Other than his many comic book film roles, however, Evans' early work starts with television. He has appeared in Opposite Sex and an episode of short-lived TV remake of The Fugitive. Evans' early films include Not Another Teen Movie, The Perfect Score, and the Jason Statham thriller Cellular. He definitely did a great job at playing a teen heartthrob. Believe it or not, he also had another super-powered role in the sci-fi action thriller Push, co-starring Dakota Fanning. He just can't get away from these superpowers, can he? Evans also had his fair share of flops like Battle for Terra, The Nancy Diaries, and Puncture. Don't worry about him, we know his career's doing very well. After all, Cap has his back.
Did I leave the stove on?
Ryan Reynolds. Like a few others on this list, Ryan Reynolds has a couple of different comic book movies under his belt, including Blade Trinity and Green Lantern. We can't blame him or the other, though. If you could star in multiple comic book movies, wouldn't you? We know we would in a heartbeat. One of his first TV appearances was also technically a comic book movie. He appeared on the Sabrina the Teenage Witch TV film that served as the pilot for the series. From there, his television career continued with Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. This led to his casting in perhaps his most famous early role as the titular character in National Lampoon's Van Wilder, in which, of course, hilarity ensues. After a career of comedy and romantic comedy roles such as Waiting, Just Friends, and Definitely Maybe, Reynolds made the shift to a more serious role starting with Blade Trinity. He also starred in the thrillers The Amityville Horror and Buried. After portraying a version of Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins Wolverine, Reynolds pushed for the character to get a more faithful adaptation, using his own money to help produce Deadpool. Now that's dedication to the characters. We're so glad he did, and it's thanks to him that we have such a perfect Deadpool.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Star-Lord.
Who?
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys?
Chris Pratt. Quick, quiz time. Alright fans, what was Chris Pratt's first comic book movie experience? If you said Guardians of the Galaxy, then you'd be wrong. Surprised? Well, Pratt actually played Wesley's jerk best friend in Wanted. Prior to that particularly douchey role, Pratt's first film appearance was in a short horror film called Cursed Part 3. He got the part through Ray Don Chong while waiting tables in Maui and living in his van, which had Shaggy and Scooby-Doo painted on it. Ah, Chris, can he be any more lovable? Pratt went on to have a notable television career, starting with the 4th season of The O.C. Following this came his beloved role as Andy Dwyer in Parks and Recreation, which we know was pretty legendary and hilarious. Pratt later would appear in films like Moneyball, 10 Years, Zero Dark 30, and Her. When approached for his role as Star-Lord, Pratt was hesitant after losing roles in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek and Avatar. But thankfully, he not only took the role but knocked it out of the park. He also got in the best shape of his life, which is a huge plus. Let's also not forget his awesome role as the Raptor Wrangler in Jurassic World.
Oh, you mean like those UFOs over Phoenix? Exactly.
What have we?
Tom Holland. Boy, there sure are a lot of British actors who play American superheroes, aren't there? Adding to that list is the newest addition to both the MCU and the growing list of actors who have played Spider-Man, Tom Holland. And with the latest Spidey film, Spider-Man Homecoming, out in theaters, Tom is fast becoming even more of a hot commodity. Also a dancer, Holland's early acting career was in Billy Elliot the Musical as the titular character. Holland performed as Billy for several years before being cast in the UK voice for show in the Studio Ghibli film Arrietty. He later successfully auditioned for the starring role in the film The Impossible alongside Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor. The film earned Tom worldwide praise for his role. Holland's next film was How I Live Now, followed by the Ron Howard film In the Heart of the Sea. In the same year, Holland appeared in the BBC series Wolf Hall. It was in June of 2015 that Holland was announced to be the next Spider-Man and made his first appearance as the hero in Captain America: Civil War. He now has his first solo film, Spider-Man Homecoming, and we must say Tom totally nails the part, especially since he did 90% of his own stunts. How awesome is he?
Underoos!
Nice job, kid.
Well, there you have it. That was some of our favorite actors who portray superheroes. Which is your favorite? Who did we miss? Let us know in the comments below. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe and check out more videos on our playlist. Thanks for watching.